It's a simple thing you can do, doesn't cost any money. It's the most powerful thing in the entire world. I've been at different places around the world. South Africa, where apartheid destroyed a culture, destroyed it. One of the most miraculous things in my lifetime has been how the South African people have changed their government and are trying to change their culture. You know, I went over there and I started talking about a culture of caring. I told them this story, and everybody, you know, laughed, and they felt it because of their own children. But then they would come up to me during the breaks and say, well, Tim, you know, we're not a caring culture here. You know, up until 20, 25 years ago, we were fighting each other. Then I say, look, in this room here, we have an ex-police officer who was charged with enforcing apartheid, and in the same room, we have an ex-member of the African National Congress who was beaten and left dead. And now we're together with a common purpose. You have to care. We have to make this work. And so, you know, here in South Africa, you know, around the room, you have ex-police officers. You have an individual who was beaten within a moment of his life. You have different tribes in the South African native community, all in the same room. That's a problem to solve there. That's a real test, right? A real challenge for me to go over there and try to do something. Well, but I got the weekend off, and I got to go with one of the executives to this fancy photo safari. And as you could tell, Paul and Estelle are very well groomed, and I tried my best to look, you know, the part. And we went to a nice dinner, and at that dinner, you know, we were having a cheese plate, and I was pulling over the cheese. Oh, what a wonderful cheese. What kind of cheese is this? And I would eat with my finger out, and I was trying to make the best impression ever. And we were driving home in his Mercedes, and I was in the back seat, really appreciating the moment. I don't get to hang out with the posh and wealthy that often. And we were enjoying the moment, and we hit a big hot pothole in the road. Just bam! And he kind of yelps in a very rich way, like, whoa, what was that? And then I said something like, oh, that's too bad. And then him and I started a conversation about, well, this is a third world country, the first world overview. In other words, you know, they have all of this money from mining, and they have a stable system of government, but, you know, the infrastructure's falling apart, and you got a lot of poor folks around. And we were having this conversation trying to lighten the mood, and then my wife, who's sitting right next to me, says, there's a hole in the, we need to do something about that before somebody else hits that. And I said, shh. Guys, don't do that. You guys, I'm preaching to the choir, right? I'm preaching to the choir. Because then she goes, you know, like one of these kind of, and she starts saying it louder. And then, you know, guys, you don't know this about women, but they got the telepathy too. And so, like, right to the executive's wife in the front, she goes, oh, yes, we must do something about this. And it just they started chattering away, and I'm just going, no! You know, this is a posh evening, and now they're and then he finally goes, what would you have me do? And I'm aghast. And so we end up, the wife sees a vacant lot that they were clearing, I guess for a house or something, and there's a whole bunch of branches on the side. And so we grab these branches. So I had to, like, I'm in my fancy outfit, and I'm holding like a whole set of branches outside of the door, the open window, as we're driving back. Nobody care about my safety. And we got back and we put the branches in front of the hole to alert other drivers. And you know what? That was the right thing to do. You know, I don't know these people in Neerspruit, South Africa. I was only there for a night. I went over to South Africa to try to help. And I preach it. I preach it. I just preached to you guys for the last hour. But I wasn't doing it. You know, it took someone smarter and more caring than I in the form of my wife. Women, you have that little thing in there. I don't know. Hormonal or whatever. Guys, we sometimes don't look past it. But I didn't have the opportunity to practice what I preached. Point number 3, practice what you preach. It's too easy to let it go. Too easy to let it go. What do you do when it's not even your people that you work with, but you're walking to the mess, to the lunchroom, and you see something that concerns you? Do you take a second, stop, and alert somebody you don't even know to their hazards? Going beyond your family to people you don't even know. Demonstrating your caring, taking that moment to keep them safer. Well, that's what happened here. And luckily, somebody else was right behind them, honked, and they went off to the side of the road, and that person helped them out. So I dare you to do 3 things today. First of all, text. You got your text, right? Who's here with the text? Give me an okay if you're going to do the text today. Get up high. Give me an okay. Come on, you can do it. It's not difficult psychology. It's a text. You know how to do it. I've seen you do it. Give me the okay. Everybody up here. Give me the okay. Good job. All right, now take the okay and put it on your chin. Put it right there on your chin. I don't see people doing that. Good job, sir. That's your cheek. Don't do this because I tell you to, or because there's instructions, right? Use your own frontal lobe and figure out how to do it in your own terms, in your own voice, with your own level of authority, with your own relationship. But do it. What do you do when it's not even your people that you work with, but you're walking to the mess, to the lunchroom, and you see something that concerns you? Do you take a second, stop, and alert somebody you don't even know to their hazards? Going beyond your family to people you don't even know. Demonstrating your caring, taking that moment to keep them safer. Well, that's what happened here. And luckily, somebody else was right behind them, honked, and they went off to the side of the road, and that person helped them out. So I dare you to do 3 things today. First of all, text. You got your text, right? Who's here with the text? Give me an okay if you're going to do the text today. Get up high. Give me an okay. Come on, you can do it. It's not difficult psychology. It's a text. You know how to do it. I've seen you do it. Give me the okay. Everybody up here. Give me the okay. Good job. All right, now take the okay and put it on your chin. Put it right there on your chin. I don't see people doing that. Good job, sir. That's your cheek. Don't do this because I tell you to, or because there's instructions, right? Use your own frontal lobe and figure out how to do it in your own terms, in your own voice, with your own level of authority, with your own relationship. But do it. Because our responsibility, as I started this talk, extends outward. You have half the folks here on this campus that are contractors. Those of you who are contractors in here have whole companies outside of NASA that you can influence. Those folks both in and outside of NASA are part of research, scientific, engineering communities that get together at conferences. And then finally, of course, the whole world is looking toward our technology to help them improve their search, their science, and their missions. And so you're called upon frequently to interact with other countries. Your responsibility extends outward to those people, to reinforce, to care, and to practice what you preach. I asked when I was in South Africa, when we went out to the Kalahari Desert, to see one of the mining camps. It's a mining construction company. To see one of the mining camps. And it's pretty much the same as any place you ever see a remote location with a lot of people working. They got a nice camp here and modular kind of things. It was hosted by Marriott or one of the Marriott organizations. It has a mess there, but right next to it was a shanty town. It's like 5 kilometers out of town. There's a shanty town there. And that shanty town held the destitute, the poor, the illiterate, the desperate, the people that brothers, sisters now work with the mine. They get to stay in the nice camp. And so now food can be handed over, or toilet paper, or Maybe they don't even know the people in the camp, but because it's there, there's a little economy. My last words to them and to you when I was leaving said, you guys might not be a caring culture. I doubt that's the case. I think you are. You've got to solve this problem. Because this company right here has over 5,000 people in this one site. And you're working all over Africa. The promise of Africa, folks, in terms of natural resources is mining. So the majority of jobs that are going to happen in Africa is mining. And if you're a company that constructs these mines, you have a chance to instill safety principles, to instill the principles of reinforcement and caring. And if you're out there doing that at the same time as changing the economy of Africa, you are changing Africa itself. Because we have to. Not stopping with your family. It's not stopping at NASA. It's the whole world that we have responsibility for. We're not being paid for safety. It's what we do as humans. Thanks for having me.